How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Sean and welcome back to another Cyberpunk 2077 video. Many media outlets have talked about this, but not in depth or not honestly really, or at the very least not to my liking. You all know I am a huge fan and a growing fan of Cyberpunk. So today I want to present you all with a breakdown of what exactly is this vertical open world. Most everything in today's video will be accurate and straight from CD Projekt. So at the end of the video, if you guys think that I did a decent job compiling this, then I'd appreciate a like and go ahead and sub if you want daily Cyberpunk content. But only at the end if you think I have honestly earned it. And if you think I could have done better at any point in the video in any way, shape, or form, please don't hesitate to let me know. Alright, hey, Philly D, do your job, man.
Let's just jump into it.
Alright, so going in head first, Cyberpunk 2077 has promised a massive vertical open world landscape in Night City, with 6 complete districts and no loading screens separating them. We've even seen parts of the city come to life in the E3 demo, with a sophisticated crowd and a community technology quite literally breathing life into the urban environment. Yet the truth is, Cyberpunk 2077 will be a far better game if developer CD Projekt Red has, reined in a little bit of its ambitions somewhat. They have hired many new devs and, have a large team of over 400 people, but I had a lingering moment of fear that without enough small-scale detail in the city, the open world game will be slightly lackluster. But if you have any knowledge of the genre and CD Projekt Red's history in the open world gaming, you will just simply think about it for a second, and soon it becomes apparent how well done this aspect of the game will be. Of course, I haven't played the full game, and I only got the 48-minute gameplay to go on, and CD Projekt Red's history, right? And so I don't mean like small detail as in like a bit of trash on the ground or some puddles, as you'll see. I think it's safe to say that if you have seen or played The Witcher 3, you will already know that these little details will be added, as we can already see them in the released gameplay, and it's largely a given for open worlds, right? So what do I mean? Recently, I've been frustrated by the abundance of inaccessible buildings in Red Dead Redemption 2. Even though it is a groundbreaking game, aside from Rockstar's open world dragging in later stages of the game, and of course there's a little problem with some storyline pacing too, but overall, very good game. However, the vast majority of buildings outside of towns are boarded up, inevitably creating disappointment. You can even compare Bethesda's Skyrim to its bankrolling counterpart Fallout 4. While there are less buildings in Skyrim than Fallout due to their difference in place, time, and setting, most every building is explorable, even if it's 1 or 2 rooms. This creates a subconscious immersion that you are not aware of unless you play something like Fallout immediately after, where you see in the distance a really large building and trek all the way there, killing however many enemies, ghouls, only to find that there is no way in that building and all you can do is just look at it as a static piece that could hold so many secrets, but the devs are just too lazy to put it in, right? Due to a whole host of things, like time crunches, deadlines, just sheer there's so many different reasons for that. But this is where CD Projekt Red differs. I, for one, think that CD Projekt Red is striving to strike this balance for Cyberpunk 2077. I have no fear that this vertical world will be a disappointment in any way. CD Projekt Red has likewise fostered an expectation of a detailed open world that promises access to these vast skyscrapers dominating Night City. This level of detail requires time and effort. With a completely handcrafted world, no invisible walls stopping you from just exploring endlessly, they have a prospect of a massive, detailed, fully accessible city, and it seems almost too ambitious. So I asked what is an obvious thing, but fans kept over speculating that every bit of the game's buildings and environment will be 100% explorable. So I asked them, many fans are saying it will be 100% explorable. Is this true? And this was their response. In essence, not all, but many will be vastly explorable. Shout out to CD Projekt Red's Twitter brigade, because they have just been answering so many questions, this guy, so many people, and it's really awesome. They are 100% pro-consumer. CD Projekt Red is also on the record for saying this about the size of Cyberpunk 2077's map. The world can be huge, but it can be huge upwards or downwards. Verticality is obviously key for the studio for this franchise. So elsewhere in this interview with GameStop, associate designer Kyle Rowley explains that the game would be split into 6 unique districts with a single mega city. So now, if you will, let me speculate a bit from the heart. So, from the sounds of it, each district will be almost like its own city. There are rich areas like the Pacific District, but there's also ones overrun with gangs. In the 48-minute gameplay we see, you actually get to explore a little bit of Watson. These districts will have their web of quests to explore, stories to discover, trade networks to exploit. Within some of these districts too are what is being called these mega buildings. These vast structures are so large that they have their own micro environments inside. It certainly has me thinking of like Mega City 1 from the Judge Dredd comics, if any of you remember that. So it's almost like these little enclosed neighborhoods, and most of these, if you go to any neighborhood, in any part of the world, most people are going to gossip or have information or know things about that particular area of the town or city they live in. For example, if you go to Chinatown in New York, the residents are going to know more about the residents there. So if there's a gang in Night City who has a predominant hold on a certain district, most of the residents will probably be either in fear or in awe or have something of an opinion to say about that gang or something, right? And Rowley has obviously, emphasized that this team is pushing verticality with Cyberpunk 2077. So expect to find yourself ascending towers and structures and taking routes that will play hell with your vertigo. So now imagine for a second, instead of trolloping through a beautiful open field, you find yourself at the bottom floor of one of these huge mega buildings, and you try to decide if you want to explore the part of the building that goes deep underground and exposes many gang hideouts within the sublevels of basements, or interesting rooms that may hold secrets and Easter eggs or mini quests. Or perhaps you want to go up and see the mega building's residents and see how they're different from the area, from which you are currently living in the game. How many floors will you have to search or fight through to get to the top? And what is the top? What's there? Who knows? Now you have spent 6 or 7 hours meticulously combing through every floor of this mega building and uncovering all of these little bitty secrets, and find so many side quests that you decide to take a break. You walk outside of the building only to realize that there are so many more buildings out there to explore. The thought becomes exciting and daunting at the same time. This will make the few buildings that you can't explore seem like a relief. After all, each building could offer loads of exploration that every building being fully explorable would simply be an immersion breaking thing, because in real life you can't just waltz into any corporate high-rise. You can't just walk into any elevator and go to the top floor. Otherwise, you're going to have security breathing down your neck in a heartbeat. Naturally, this should apply to a futuristic dystopian world, which more places would be cut off from you, right? You wouldn't be able to have access to as much as normal citizens have access to in our modern day society. And then there is the huge storyline as well, that you can also play through for so many hours. So much to do, so much to do, so much to do. So down the road, the sizes of this open world in the future installments can only go up from here. What, is that a bad joke? Pun intended? So this is my take on the vertical world of Night City, and I am genuinely curious as to what you guys actually think about it. So I hope to see you down below as I reply to like literally everyone. And don't forget, if you do handstands on skyscrapers, like the gangster that you are, then make sure you like and subscribe, and until next time, piss off.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and Hennessy. I've been to the motherfucking mountaintop. Heard motherfuckers talk, seen them drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm gonna continue to rock. Get your ass on the wall with your 2 left feet. It's real easy, just follow the beat. Don't let that fine girl pass you by. Look real close, cause strobe lights about to have a party. Let's get it started. Shake it. I'm looking for a girl with a body and a sexy strut. Wanna get it poppin', baby, step right up. Some girls, they act retarded. Some girls are body. I'm looking for a girl that will do whatever the fuck I say. Every day she be giving it up. Shake that ass for me. Shake that ass for me. Come on, girl, shake.